Welcome to art class, virtual style. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about some columns. Sort of the three classical columns I have sort of sketched roughly. We've got the Doric, which is the oldest, the earliest type of column. It has a really plain capital. There's not a lot going on. And also it had like a thick, wide, sort of fluted design down here. The fluting sort of is where it goes in. It's not a smooth column. That helped visually draw the eye up. It also helped it look more perfectly round than if it was just a smooth column. The Doric columns did not have a base at the capital, or the base at the bottom. So where it met the floor, it was just sort of right there. We have the Iconic. It originated in Ionia, which is in modern-day Turkey. It's where the Iconic, or Ionic, I don't know why, Ionic. Where that came from. Ionia, Ionic. Its sort of major characteristic is this big sort of scroll-like design that it has. It has more graceful fluting, a little more slender proportions. And these scroll-like decorations are called volutes. Fancy new vocab word. The Corinthian is the latest, and they're the most elaborately designed. These are the Corinthian columns. They have this, to me, it looks a little bit like a pineapple. But they're actually acanthus leaves. Sort of nice vegetative, organic design up here at the top. They were also fluted often. Most of the early ones were fluted. They would also sort of, when they were building them, sort of stack pieces of column, and the fluting helped to line them up, and visually your eye would be caught more by the fluting to create more harmony visually than by these little horizontal junctures. Okay, so that's just a little thing. So you are going to get a little piece of paper, and we're going to draw some columns on it. So my paper is a 6 by 8. I have a 6 by 8 paper. I would recommend working small on this project. So what I did, I even gave myself a little border to work in. So what I did is I took my ruler and I used my ruler to make columns. See, it's actually, or my ruler paint stick, to draw some columns, and I overlapped them to fill the space. I have all different kinds of columns. I have fluted, I have smooth, I have Corinthian, I have Ionic. This is sort of a invented Doric. They do not have to be especially one way or another. We're just making something fun. And then drawing them layered. Then you can go back in and shade with pencil, or you can do pen. Kind of come back in. You could utilize one type of shading all throughout. You can do hatching, cross hatching, or a fun thing you might want to do is to divide your paper. You can see my sort of horizontal lines here. And you could do, you know, weaving, hatching, cross hatching, stippling, scribbling. You could do different types of shading throughout. When you are working on this, you're gonna just be trying to create some form. While you get comfortable with your design, I would recommend that you work on your background columns before you do your main column. Also remember, we've talked about movement throughout a piece and focal points. So my focal point is going to be right here. If I made my tic-tac-toe board, you know, it's here in the center area where these two are coming together. It's going to be a really strong piece. And then I tried to make other columns kind of bring your eye, like, hey, look that way, kind of pointing towards that. Obviously not all of them, you know, this one's kind of going off in its own thing, because that would just end up being a big circle of columns. But you get the idea. Think about where you're putting your columns. Don't just get crazy and start drawing lines. So when you're drawing a curved feature, it's going to be the lightest, sort of towards the center. So I'm making this is sort of a stippling effect, and they're going to be much more close together on the sides. Get more farther apart in towards the center. Smaller towards the center too. And same on the other side. So as the light hits the column, you know, I'm imagining like a straightforward light source here. The light kind of bends and there's going to be a shadow on each side. Hope y'all are enjoying your time at home with your siblings. And we've been sick, so we've been hanging out at home a lot. Hope you guys are staying well. We seem to have a gene in my family that some of the kids have this really cool ability to sneeze and just shoot snot, you know, all over the place. It's pretty cool. I guess it's better than it getting stuck in there. And well, Carmen seems to have that gene. Theo has it. Max does not. But Carmen, it's pretty funny. She sneezes and there's just boogers everywhere. Not on her, you know, on everything else. you're starting to get the idea. Going around. And I want to make it a little darker where your line is here. So it's going to have a little shadow down there. You can make a firm line if you want. Sometimes it looks neat if you don't do that. Alright, this is a Corinthian one, so it's got these nice vegetative details. So the top is going to be lighter than the bottom. Because this is going to be folded under. So this will be darker here. Probably edges again are, oh, it's a little darker. Maybe I'll try some, a little bit of hatching up here. Okay. Ooh. This is a big leaf here. Okay, so that looks pretty cool from far away, right? Yeah, it looks kind of weird to me in person. See, it looks kind of weird. But we remember our art is going to be viewed from farther away, and visually, all those cool little shady dots blend really nicely. I would recommend making the columns that are closer up a little bit lighter than the ones in the back, and mixing fluted and not fluted designs. So, like if I'm going to do this column behind, it's going to be a little bit darker so that we can tell it's behind this one. Let's pretend this one's fluted too. I can add some lines in here. Okay. Alright, now it's behind it. So it should probably have a little bit of a shadow. From the one on top of it. I'll just help create some space here. And it's under there. Okay, so now we got one on top of the other. Build this line a little deeper. There we go. Okay. Now you're like, what, Mrs. Crisheim? How in the world am I gonna draw these fluted things? This is crazy. Crazy top. You're just gonna kind of do it back, the same thing, just on each one. Or you can make, this one a little darker, this one lighter, this one darker. try to do a longer line on the darker ones so that you get a smoother look. With these ones, the lighter ones, you don't need to do that. Because if you have a lot of small choppy lines in your darker column, it's going to look uneven. Like here, I'll do an example. So if I want this box to be darker, and I make short lines throughout the places that my dark lines are overlapping, are going to get a little bit darker than I want. It's not going to be one smooth color, versus if I try to make them all the same, it's a much smoother kind of visually. This one looks like one more even shade. Can you see? And this one has sort of these like darker spots like there and there. You get it. Ooh, sorry. Whoops. I totally have my phone like rubber banded to this tripod thing. You know, utilize what we have, right? Friends. Yep, you see my notes? Okay. Yeah, Mrs. Duchesne will probably tell you all my column stuff is wrong. Okay. So, cool, right? Alright, you get the idea. Just keep working. You guys, if you complete this, you can do it in pen or pencil. But if you stick with it and finish, this is going to be a really cool looking piece of art. So I really recommend that you do this. You can do this while you're listening to your audiobooks or whatever. Now that you've, gotten a lot of practice with your black and white shading with your doodle project, I'm sure this will turn out really nicely. You could, you could also try hatching across. This will help accentuate the form of the column. Because you're going kind of around the circumference. Helps the viewer to see that it goes around. And same, they're going to be closer together towards the center, or sorry, towards the edges, and you're going to have more white towards the center. Maybe a bit darker area where the other two are crossing over it, right? And it helps us to see that it's below the other two. Nice little shadow. So fun, guys. have some pretty sweet column art when you're done. Let's keep going. I feel like a lot of you guys give up right before you can make something awesome. So really hang in there. Keep going. All right. Have fun. Bye.